don't rush your growth. Um, Basically, don't jump into things that you're not ready for. You always want to make sure that you have a plan or that you have something to fall back on. So, I mean, that goes for so many things, but like, because sometimes it is better to just take action and just get jump straight into it because a lot of people procrastinate. But I'm talking about don't overload yourself with work. Don't rush into experiences just to get that feeling or just to feel like you're learning or growing. For example, if you haven't had a girlfriend or you want one or want a boyfriend or whatever, don't rush into it. Like, don't just take anybody. Have legitimate standard. Have genuine standard for yourself. Make sure you get with someone that you like because at the end of the day, you're gonna get that experience no matter what. Experience and growth is natural. It happens consistently and it happens naturally. You don't want to rush into something to get the feeling because you're not going to get the right feeling. If anything, you'll just ruin your experience. You'll ruin your experience. And I know that because I've done that before. I've rushed into something that I didn't want. I rushed into something that I thought I wanted, but I didn't because I was looking, but I was looking for anything. I wasn't just setting a standard for myself. I wasn't trying to actually build a genuine relationship or emotional relationship. So this kind of goes for everything, not just relationship, but I like to use this example only because it's so universal. So for example, if you want a job, set a standard. Even if you're coming straight out of high school or you just got a diploma or you just got your bachelor's, master's, make sure you have a plan and make sure you have set standards. Don't just get a job because they offer you or because they've accepted you. An interview, that's not going to be your first interview, and you know that. That's not going to be your first boss. That's not going to be your first whatever. That's not going to be your last. Sorry. That's not going to be your last interview. It's your first one. And like, don't be scared to go into something with the standard. If you want to make money and you're trying to get your first job and they're like, hey, I'll give you 12 $13 an hour, be like, nah, man, like, I want 15, I want 16, I want 20. Set a standard. Set it. Even if it takes a little while to get to, you will get it because at the end of the day it'll naturally come to you. If you bless yourself that standard so much, the universe will have to accept that you set the standard and that you deserve this. You are prepared. Better yet, you need to be mentally prepared for this also. So, what I'm generally mean by don't rush your growth is by don't overload yourself with experiences all at once. So, let's say you have a full time job, you just got straight out of high school. Let's say you get a full time job and you're like, I want to try working, but I also want to go to school, I want to go to college. Now you're doing full time college and full time work. And let's say you have hobbies on the side, like, or a second job, or so you got to remember that these are impulsive decisions that people make when they don't feel comfortable with the position they're in. And you got to realize that you're always going to want something. You know, for example, if you want to buy a car and you don't really have the budget to, don't invest in something that is more natural, maybe cheaper. You have public transportation, you have trains, you have buses, and I know not everywhere has trains, but everywhere has a bus. And if that means you got to get to work an hour early, so be it. Because at the end of the day, um, you're not using money on Ubers. You're not using money on lifts. You're maintaining your budget until you can officially buy a car. Because you need to remember, like, when you're saving up for a car, you want a good car. You don't want to get some rundown, beat down, old freaking Honda and it shuts down on you. It breaks down on you, and you're like, oh, I just bought this like a few months ago. How am I gonna? I was barely managing just payments, I was barely managing insurance, and then it breaks down. And now, what are you gonna do? Now you have a car that you need to get fixed. Can you afford that? So what I'm saying is that you need to look at every aspect before you jump into something. For example, a job. Let's say you're going to full-time school or whatever. You have a girlfriend, you have a boyfriend too. You need to manage your schedule. You need to make sure you have a set schedule. You don't want to jump into something that's random. Usually, typically random isn't the best, but it can come in handy sometimes. Randomness is the beauty of life, but if you're able to make a plan, if you're able to prepare yourself in a set time, then you don't need to settle for random. You don't need to settle for something just completely unnatural. You are able to have standards. You are able to get better. You don't need to set yourself and settle down because you think that you can't get more when you know you can get more. So most people fall into this deep hole because they they feel in their hearts that they're like, yes, I know I need more, I know I want more, but they can't do much about it because they already made the first impulsive decision of overloading themselves, growing up too fast. Don't grow up too fast. You have a life to maintain, and managing life as hard as it is, you don't need to add on extra layers of burdens. You need to make sure that you make your road as difficult but also easy. You don't want to live a life of struggle because that is also how you get stuck. Now, I'm not saying natural struggle, I'm saying unnatural struggle. Completely wearing yourself out or stressing yourself out, basically self-sabotaging yourself. So that's what I mean by you don't want to go through a self-sabotaging stage. You want to make sure that you get your experience naturally. You get your car when you're ready for a car. When you see that your finances are good and that you can afford that insurance, and that if your car does get a flat tire or whatnot, you can fix that. So don't settle. Don't settle for a $2,000, $3,000 car when you can save up in a few months and get an $8,000, $9,000 car, or loan out a $20,000 car, or whatever. Finance it. Don't settle for what's less. Growing up too fast is the equivalent to settling down for the worst possible option. You don't need to be mature. You don't need to be the best person at 16, 17, 18, 20, 25. You don't need to have it all together. You don't need to have a house. 30, 35. You don't need to have a $1 million paying job. You don't need to be a millionaire. Everything takes time. Even if it takes longer than you've expected, it's still gonna get there. You're still gonna get it, but you need to have patience. You can't rush yourself to becoming that person that you want to be without one, the natural experience that you need. Everyone becomes the best version of themselves when they have that natural experience. They don't become great by just trial and error and then error and error and error because they keep repeating the same thing, because they keep rushing into things. The greatest people have natural experience. They have natural dedication and they have natural hard work. But you can't just expect something when you're rushing into it too fast. And I don't want to make this a repeating video where I keep saying this, but it's very, 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 very vital that you understand what I'm trying to say. That if you're rushing your experiences, you're rushing your growth, you're rushing your human change, then maybe that's not the right decision. At least focus on getting things naturally. Make sure you have a plan for your life. And mind you, you don't need to always have it figured out, but at least have something figured out for the moment. And make sure what you have figured out for the moment affects your future. You gotta always remember that what you have for the moment is gonna affect your future. If I have a job now, this is affecting my future, because if I got a job in 2 years, then finances would be slower. I'd have my experiences slower, yeah. But I knew I was ready for a job. I knew I can handle a job. I went to college because I knew that I can handle college. So at the end of the day, don't overestimate your situation, but don't underestimate your ability. What does that mean? What I mean by that is that overestimating your situation. So for example, if you're homeless or you're going through a really bad time or you're in the deepest part of your life, you're going through a deep depression, you're going through a lot of things, you need to realize everybody goes through things. These are natural. You don't need to feel like you're alone, but also don't stay stagnant. Don't just sit there and wait for somebody to give you pity, because unfortunately, nobody's going to give you pity. You can post it online and hope that it blows up and pray that people, but you don't want reactions out of people. You don't need attention. What you need is stability. So, um, basically, like, that's overestimating your situation. Going through depression or something, yes, it's a very bad situation. I'm not saying that it's not important what you're going through. What I'm saying is that you're overestimating how much it's taking a toll on you. It's taking a major toll on you because you're letting it. So don't underestimate your ability in that situation, because your ability is a lot more stronger than you think. Your human morals, your strength, your dedication, your determination is a lot more stronger than you think. You don't like, you need to go through this. You need to know. You need to harness your ability to a point where you can do practically anything. And that's the first step to doing that, is first telling yourself that you can accomplish anything. If you want to be the best doctor in the United States, well, set that standard. Know that you have a set standard now, and know that you have something to chase. Now, don't rush it. Now, don't just jump into college and study 5 hours a day. That was weird. Study 5 hours a day when you can cut those 5 hours into 1 hour each day. Don't jump into it. Don't use all your energy for one thing. Don't study for 5 hours one day and then think you're fine for the next ones. I promise you, it's better studying 1 hour every day than it is studying 5 hours one day, 5 hours the next 3 days. It's not worth it. You need to know how you manage, and you need to maintain your life. You need to know what you're doing. You need to have control over your ability and your environment. Because, yeah, some people say settle down, settle for whatever, right? Say that, man, if it's not in your control, so what? Make it in your control. If you don't like your hours, control that. Yeah, sure, your manager controls it, but you control that. Get a new job. Chase something new. This is how you get the natural experience. You get natural experience by having natural reaction. But first, you need to take action on your natural reaction. If you feel like you hate your job, then maybe it's time to get a new one. If you hate the area you're in, if you hate the house you're in, maybe it's time to start making more money. So, yeah, I know it's easier said than done. I can't just be like, make more money and then you'll start making more money. But saying these things gives you a set goal on what you need to do. So if you want to make more money, then now you have the idea that you need to make more money, and that you will start taking action, and that you will start doing something about that. Now you have a plan. You have a set plan that you want to make money. So this naturally prepares your mind to make more money. I know it sounds pretty crazy. Let's say you want to start working out. Okay, now you've acknowledged that you want to start working out. Get to it, right? Getting to it basically just prepares your mind, because you already told yourself you want to work out. Now you got to prepare to tell yourself that you are ready to work out. You need to mentally prepare yourself. You need to physically prepare yourself. You need to make sure you're ready before you jump into something. Because I promise, jumping into the gym and going in for 3 hours and then leaving, you're going to feel like shit. You're going to feel tired. You're going to feel like you had no rest. And that's just, you rushed it, man. Why were you working out for 3 hours? I don't know. I don't know what you were doing. But don't spend so much energy on one time frame. Don't spend so much energy on one thing. If you have to cut it into several days, that's the whole point. You want to cut everything into several days, because saving it for last minute or rushing it or whatever makes life hard. Which goes back to what I was saying, don't rush your growth, because it's basically like doing all your homework in one night. Yeah, you're gonna get it done, but you're gonna feel like shit, and you never want to do it again. So that's the whole thing, that you overloaded your brain with a shitload of work, and instead of proving to yourself how easy it is, proving to yourself how easy it is by doing it every day and realizing that cutting it into like 5 pieces is way easier than eating the whole cake. You know, you can't just eat a whole cake, you gotta cut it. You can consume the whole thing. I mean, it's kind of unhealthy, but you can consume that entire cake, but you need to cut it into pieces. So basically what I'm saying is that don't rush something. Don't rush your growth. Don't rush anything. Make sure you have a plan and make sure you cut it into itty bitty pieces. If you want to become a better person, you can focus on that. And if you want to work out in the time being, you can focus on that too. So cut your growth into several pieces. Don't just take big actions into one day or 1 month and then pray that it works, because most of the times it's probably not going to work, honestly. It works for the very few people, and that's awful luck, but you don't want to rely on luck. You don't want to rely on other people. You want to rely on yourself. So make sure that you're not rushing your work. If you're doing a painting, you're not going to rush it. You want people to buy it. So, you know, you got to treat your life the same way you would treat majority of the things in your life. If you rush your life, you're going to have shit experiences and you're going to have shit outcomes. If you let things happen naturally, if you cut it into pieces, if you make it easier for yourself, you're going to have a better experience, you're going to have a better time, and you're going to have more memorable moments. So make life easy for yourself, and don't linger on the thought either. Don't Make sure you get your shit done. Make sure you get everything done that you need to do. And even if that means cutting it into little pieces, if you have an essay, do it 5 days. Do half the essay in one day. Then do a quarter of the essay tomorrow. Do a quarter of the essay on the third day. You're done 2 days before the essay's even due. Now you have 2 days to relax. So it's easier to just cut things into several components rather than just take it whole. And that's the moral of this whole story. That's the moral of the video. Don't rush your growth. Treat it like things in your life. And I promise you, you will see a more of an effective change. Because you're going to see a change regardless, but you're going to see more of an efficient and effective change doing things slowly, doing things patiently, and cutting it into halves. Have a good one, guys. I know this video is going to help you, so I watched this whole thing through. Don't just skip to the end. That's why I like to leave these messages till the end. And I'm going to be posting another video tomorrow. I'm so excited. And yeah, this video, please listen to it. And sometimes you need to go through things to understand what I'm saying, but if you can understand it now and take action now, you're setting yourself up for an amazing time. So have a good one, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.